Howdy all, this is Shane. This is sort of like a follow-up video about how to tune a guitar with these particular tuners. Now these are the vintage style tuners where you put the string down into the post and wrap it around. I've since found a much easier way to do this. Now a lot of people thankfully suggested using a toothpick, but if you don't have a toothpick and you're at a gig, then I'm going to show you the way that I now do this. I've learned a lot since that first video and it's much easier, so let's check this out. Now I'm taking all the strings off at once. Some people choose not to do that because it can throw the neck out a little bit, and after about 150 times of changing the strings, I haven't noticed any difference with the neck after doing it this way. So I just do it the quickest way for me, which is take them all off. I'm actually recording tomorrow, so I'm going to give this a bit of a clean and make sure that it's in the best condition it can be. For those who are wondering what I'm using, it's actually just called Shine. It's a Planet Waves cleaning product that I've had for years and years, and it just keeps on going. I'm actually replacing the strings that were on there with the same strings, which are web strings. These are 10 to 46. I kind of like the lighter gauge on the tallies. Now, a rule of thumb on how to do this, you stretch the string out, not too hard, you don't have to worry about it. Now you count 2 pegs up, so about here, in the middle here, is a good place to cut the string. Alright, so that's how long you want it, roughly about here. Give or take, you can make it a little shorter or a little longer. Now what I like to do is make sure that the tuners are going forward, so in the direction of the string. So what that will now do is if I push this down, you don't have to push it too hard. As I pull down and turn it around, all I do now is keep pressure where my index finger is. So here's another view. I'm just pushing down and I'm winding the string on. Now these fat strings, the E's, the A and the D, are quite easy, but you keep pressure so it actually goes up the right way on the peg. Done. Now the next string on here is the G. So I'm going to do exactly the same thing. I'll measure out about 2 and a bit. So about here, that's where I'm going to cut it. Straighten it out, push down, wrap it around a little bit, and keep pressure on the base of the string here. And at the same time, with the rest of my hand, I'm sort of pulling back on the string. So I'm pulling, towards this side of the screen here. With the thicker strings, you don't have to worry about that too much. But with these thin ones, it's a good idea to keep tension pulling against or in the direction that the string is going. So let's just see if this works. Done. Alright, onto the A string now. So same thing again. Cut about 2 and a bit across. Push down, pull it around, hold down and pull. So if you remember my last video, you'll remember that this string here, well, these two were pretty problematic back then. And I think I've learnt a bit about it. So while some people say you don't have to trim the string, I'm just going to save some time by chopping off a little bit. Now we pull it down. We can either wrap it around twice or once, depending. But what I'm doing now, but the key to this now, see how my hand has actually got the string? My thumb and my other fingers are pulling it down downways. So just remember that. No toothpick required. There's probably a million different ways of doing this. This is just the way that I know that works for me. That Dr. Rick showed me, a way to do it on his guitars. He found pretty easy, and I thought, I may have modified that. I can't really remember, but the idea of pulling the string down and back really creates the tension that these pegs need to basically keep the string from popping out of the top. And yeah, I know how frustrating that can be, but once you do this a few times, it's actually probably slightly easier. Well, not easier, but it's more convenient maybe than the original tuners. Well, the originals meaning the newer tuners. These are the original type, but anyway, yeah, you know what I mean, like the more modern tuners. So that's first time, no camera tricks. Alright, onto the D string now. So same thing applies, cut a little bit between the pegs, 2 pegs across. I like to straighten that out. It's just what I do. Like I said, with these ones, you can basically just wrap it around once. It doesn't matter. But with the thin strings, twice is usually a bit better. Alright, I'm on to the one I like least now. Or which everyone probably likes least. Is this one. So I'm going to straighten that out. Like I said, this is just my way of doing it. There's probably a million other ways. And what I also like to do is just trim this just a hair, just a little bit. I'm going to just trim this one about that much. So same thing, once it goes in, pull it down, wrap it around twice. Make sure the second wrap goes under the first one. So now I'm already pulling the tension again with the rest of my hand. About 8 out of 10 times I get this right. So first go, let's give this a shot. So with this one, I tend to still put a fair bit of pulling pressure, backwards along the string. This way it kind of keeps it from sliding around. That was one thing that I just didn't do the first video. I didn't put enough pressure pulling backwards. I held the string down, which is how I've seen people do it, but I didn't realize that you needed to put pressure, backwards on the string. So thanks for Rick for showing me that. That's awesome. That right there is how you tune one of these guitars with vintage tuners. This happens to be a Telecaster, a left-handed one. If you're a right-handed player, you do exactly the same thing, only as a mirror image. So you always pull the strings around towards this part of the headstock. And if you're right-handed, probably turn it the other way. But the principle is exactly the same. It doesn't matter. You can always download this video somehow and then mirror it if need be, but it's pretty straightforward. So that's how you do that. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, please let me know. And thanks to everyone who also gave so many great suggestions on the last video. I hope this is informative and helpful for some people and an update to the last video. Thank you.